What is up, conscious monkeys? Welcome to another episode of Catch Up with Clayton. I'm your host, Clayton. Today is March 9th, and we had an interesting week in the past. I went to San Diego, caught up with some friends, got my first hostel experience, and yeah, a lot of preparing for stuff. And so let's just dive right into it. So the first thing to look up was like my first hostel experience. It was really cool. Well, it was interesting. It was a very cool kind of setup. It was right on the beach, and it really reminded me of kind of like college living. Like you're in the dorms, you kind of have like a common space. You could share it with people, and so it was pretty interesting in kind of those regards. But the one thing that's really sticking out in my head, and something that I'm going to definitely echo for everyone else to kind of check out, is to make sure you're in tuned with the reviews before you go to a hostel. Because what I realized, and what I've come to realize, is that there's probably some different types of hostels. So for instance, this hostel is kind of like more of a party hostel. So like they were playing music till like 2 a.m. So I did not get a lot of sleep that night. Met some pretty cool people, so from Denver. So shout out to you guys if you're listening. We had some pretty cool conversation about consciousness and the reality and fabric of universe and all that fun stuff. So hopefully they're listening in. Shout out to them if they are. But overall, it was cool. It was a cool experience. Didn't get much sleep, but we made up for it by going to Crossed and partying all weekend, and realizing that it's interesting getting to that point where people are doing a bunch of other things. And so I think the parties are starting to die out. People aren't going out as much and stuff as you get older, but maybe that's something that if you still are partying, hey, first of all power to you if you're still doing it. But just appreciate it, because not all that stuff lasts forever. We used to have group of 20 plus people going to these things, and now last weekend it was probably like 5 to 10. I think that's also a consequence though, is they're doing a lot more party DJ festival things in San Diego since like all these bans have been lifted, and so they're probably kind of oversaturating the market. Regardless, that's kind of what I've my quick interpretation of it. Still highly recommend CrossFest to anybody if you're looking to go, and what would it be, the fall? But yeah, so super cool. Something I've also been noticing recently, which I'm not sure if many people have experienced something like this, and it has to do with like, I guess, doing good things. And it seems like recently I've had a lot more opportunities to help people in small ways, or like just throughout the day. And, what's coming to mind is it was just like, I found a phone, and, taking it to, what's it called? Like the people in the hostel saying, hey, I found this phone. It was actually in Portuguese too. So I was like, oh, this looks like a Brazilian person probably left this. Or just helping people carry things, or helping somebody if they drop something. Like, so I'm curious if anyone else has kind of experienced it this way. Like, as you're on this spiritual journey, like, as you do good things, does the universe kind of give you more opportunities to do good things? To me, that kind of seems like, or feels like, a truth. It feels true to me that as you do good things and help people, the universe is like, hey, let's give you more stuff to help people with. Like, you can do that. You're managing it. You're doing it well. So I found that really fascinating. And speaking of helping people and doing good things, there's something I want to kind of spread about wealth consciousness. And this is an idea that I considered not even mentioning because it comes in the negative. It can cultivate fear. And it's something I don't want to perpetuate. But it came out frequently, and I think it's something to at least touch on, and I don't know if this is something that's happening in the mainstream, that they're broadcasting this, or somebody said this, but I had two different friends. One person messaged me on, Instagram, and then another person brought it up in person. And it's the idea relating to like if an EMP goes off and the power grid goes down, it would take crypto with it. Now, first of all, I think it's craziest. I guess it's not crazy, right? It's not a crazy idea that somebody would try to completely decimate crypto because of wanting their own financial goals or means or whatever. But to me, we have a lot bigger issues if a EMP goes off and, they take down the whole power grid. Crypto is the last thing we need to worry about. But I don't want, and I guess the reason I'm bringing this up is to just, as I talk about it, avoid visualizing a future with something like that occurring. Because if that happened, then we might get reverted back to the Stone Age. I really don't know. Everything's become so technologically based. I guess you won't be listening to this podcast anymore. But just stay positive, about these things. I guess I'm bringing it up because it was something that a lot of people brought up to me in this past weekend. And so I found it fascinating that two people who don't even really know each other brought up the same issue. So to me, what is it? Hope for the best, but prepare for the worst. Prepare for the worst, hope for the best. So at the end of the day, look, we're all going to be good. Like, everything's going to work out. Everything's happening as it needs to happen. So we will be good either way. If the whole power grid goes down, there's bigger issues than crypto. So I really found it interesting how both of these people brought it up with regards to crypto and Bitcoin. It was like, well, what happens to crypto if an EMP goes off? And it's like, there's bigger issues at play here than crypto if the whole power grid goes down. So all I'm going to say on that is just focus on the positive. We're creating our own reality. So if the world consciousness gets fixated on that, then that's what's going to occur. And quite frankly, I think that's probably something that happened with Russia. It's like the news will just perpetuate these negative ideas, war with Russia, maybe an EMP blast destroying crypto. And what they do is if you sink that into enough subconscious minds, enough programming, is that it'll carry it out on a massive scale. So, conscious monkeys, what I am proposing that you do is spread love, I guess I don't really know what to say, but at least try to bring people out of fear. Because fear is it's a powerful motivator. And it clearly still has a very strong grasp on humanity. So I'm not really sure what the answer is. I guess meditate, see ways in which you can heal yourself, it heals the world kind of thing. And that actually might be a good segment that I'm preparing for a healing session. Or I have been preparing for a healing session with hypnotherapy, which is actually with the doctor who is releasing on Monday. And the session is actually tomorrow. But what I want to actually discuss has been this week coming up to it. So I decided last week that we were going to do this. You set an intention with me. It's like unworthiness and kind of self-doubt are like the two main catalysts. Now, whenever you're doing a new healing practice for the first time, I experienced this with plant medicine, and I'm experiencing it now with hypnotherapy. You set that intention, and then the world around you, it starts to bubble up all of that shit. All the times you felt unworthy, all the little triggers that you had in your life. So things get a little chaotic, a little messy, a little turbulent. And so that's kind of something I've been experiencing over the last weekend, was these incarnations of maybe some things in my past of where I've been left out or, judgment has been casted, whatever it was that programmed me to feel unworthy. And it's like one of those things where you identify like an issue in the matrix almost. It then like wants to fight back, and it's like, no. You're going to keep feeling unworthy. Like it fights you. It's like you're trying to fight against the programming. And so it's like you identified a virus, but then the virus is like, well, I'm going to fight harder to stay in your computer now that you've identified it. But I think that means it's one of those things where it's always the darkest before the dawn. So in my opinion, it means that I'm fucking close. And next week, hopefully, we've got it at least identified and somewhat healed. Hopefully, who knows? I mean, I never try to put timelines on these things. In my opinion, you can heal instantly, right? Like, what is preventing you from waking up tomorrow morning as a completely new person? I know that time has an effect of some sort, but I'm still trying to figure that out, man. It's weird to me. I feel like you could just shift into any reality you want, but maybe there's got to be some constraints on it for, I don't know, just so you're not just constantly shifting and feeling chaotic and completely lost. Because if you were able to shift into any reality at any moment, think of the extreme. And maybe that's a good way to do it. That's something I used to do, is think of things in the extreme, right? So if we think of it in the extreme, right, one way is that nothing ever changes and you're exactly the way you are every single day, every single second. But even in that reality, you'd be like a moss or something, right? You wouldn't even be able to get out of bed because you would be constantly needing to stay put. Like there would be no need for change. So that's the extreme, right? But then I guess that's no change. But then if things were changing at such a drastic scale every moment or instant, it would be impossible almost to get things done. Because what if, right? Like I'm sitting here recording this podcast, talking to this microphone. Well, say in my mind, it pops in my head that I want to be in Egypt riding the back of a camel, which I'm actually going to be doing pretty soon. But if that's where my mind just shifted right there, I'm no longer able to press record. This is never going to get uploaded. Like it will just never get uploaded and people will never hear it because I'm in Egypt now. I'm no longer recording. Like it would just be so instantaneous that you just keep shifting and shifting and shifting. It'd be way too chaotic. And so, I guess that's interesting. So maybe that's the purpose of the illusion of time, is to make sure that you're truly aligned with what it is that you want. Excuse me. To make sure that you are able to, stay true to it. And I'm sure there's a whole bunch of other stuff with like the process and yada, yada, yada. I think I'm kind of hitting the extent of what I wanted to talk about. Hopefully that helped somebody. Hopefully you guys, vibed with that in some way, shape, or form. Other than that, like, share, subscribe, leave a review. But above all else, learn. If you're learning, if I said one thing in this, what are we at here? 13-minute ramble, and it just lit you on fire and you're like, that's exactly what I needed to hear, then hell yeah. Hell yeah. That's the whole point of all of this. So Conscious Monkeys, I thank you. Oh yeah, forgot to mention this, but the graphic's done. The Conscious Monkey graphic is completed. It's official. It's officially official, done, completed. Yes. I'm going to get those on t-shirts. Let me know if there's something you want it on, but I'm going to get it on a t-shirt for sure. And yeah, I'm excited. I got to spread that around, but a couple other things need to be done before then. Let's see how quickly I can get that turnaround going. Hopefully it's before the end of the month. Just got a lot of stuff in the pipes. Regardless, I am now just rambling, but maybe you guys like that. I don't know. All right. Come tune in next week. We got Dr. Ann, who's going to be diving into me and changing me. We talk about like souls and journey of souls and stuff. So if you're ready for a way out there conversation, some people will be ready for it. Others, maybe not. If any of it resonates with you, take it. If it doesn't, well, just leave it. It's not for you, I guess. But other than that, I appreciate you, Conscious Monkeys. Thank you for lending me your ear for 14 minutes. And I appreciate you guys. And thank you. Let's grow together.